Hello, I'm Thor Freudenthal. I'm the director of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and I'm pleased to be sitting here with Gabe Sachs.
Hello, it's Gabe Sachs here, one of the writers of Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
And we're going to try and tell you a little bit about making this movie. This, starting out with turning the Fox logo into a Jeff Kinney style drawing, sort of is going for the thing that I had in mind early on, is framing the movie very much by the written and drawn diary that Greg has. So it's a great way to sort of get into the movie.
Oh, jeez, how'd that happen?
Go, go, go. Mom's about to flip out. She sent me to get you while she waits in the car.
This sequence of, Greg getting up in the middle of the night, as we will learn, really is based on two drawings in the book. One with Roderick by Greg's bed, and the other one with Greg in the kitchen and the dad in the doorway asking him what's going on. Of course, as an opening sequence, I felt it should be, a very physical, very fast, slapsticky number that would be fun to introduce Greg with.
And Zach loved having all that sugar in his mouth.
Yes.
Over and over.
Yes. In fact, the first time he did it, the prop person accidentally put salt in that bowl. And he didn't even mention it until I asked him why his face looked, why he was grimacing.
Are you insane?
But it was a lot of fun to shoot this stuff.
School isn't started. 4 o'clock in the morning.
Steve Zahn, I was so blessed to work with because he's a very inventive guy, as well as, Rachel Harris right here, both very, very consummate comedic actors. Steve actually came up with the idea of the hockey stick that he barges into the room with. He always showed up with, a prop or an idea that he would use that surprised me in good ways. So that's what you want from your actors. And of course here, paying homage to the piece that this movie is based on and really framing it with the diary. This animation went through a couple of incarnations before it became final. We had to very much stay true to Jeff Kinney's style in the books, but at the same time, give it a little bit of life on its own. And the animators, who worked out of Custom Film Effects, led by my good friend Mike Murphy, did a great job of keeping sort of the line alive and working within the limitations of what the characters look like.
I specifically told her not to buy one that said diary on it. This just proves Mom doesn't understand. This,
interestingly, is the piece of material that Zach auditioned with. Zach Gordon, who plays Greg Heffley. We've auditioned, about 5,000 different kids all around the U.S. and Canada. And, that monologue was always sort of the benchmark moment of, can somebody deliver that and make it sound like it's coming from the gut and, sound urgent and like he really means it. And Zach was the only one who really could make that work and make us feel, that underneath his arrogance, there is vulnerability which he's trying to mask.
Yeah, you really like him. I mean, he's one of those kids that you see and you just automatically like.
Yeah. And also in the monologue, we found that we pretty much quickly had to let it revolve around his relationship with Rowley. So Rowley is introduced early on in the movie via these two cutaways that you just saw, just to give us a hint at what's to come. That their movie truly is about Greg and Rowley's relationship. The difficulty in making this movie and telling this story is that it's based on a very episodic, very funny book. But in a movie, you can't just string episodes one after the other. You have to create a through line. And I felt that the relationship story between Greg and Rowley was that through line, was the backbone of the movie. Here's Devin Bostick.
Awesome.
Unbelievable actor. I mean, he to me was one of the surprises of the movie when we found him in Toronto, Canada. He had done movies with Adam McGoyan. He had worked quite a bit. I hadn't seen him do any comedy, which I'm sure he had done, but he came in and really surprised us with being a nasty older brother that you still like. I mean, there's something appealing about, his playfulness and his creativity with which he tortures Greg.
Tor, talk about how you got Manny to look down.
Manny, who is played by two kids, Owen and Connor Fielding, who were awesome, but not always 100% on board with the idea of acting on a movie set. In fact, they didn't even know what was happening around them, which, with all your preparation as a director, you feel kind of powerless the minute a 3-year-old walks on set and decides he doesn't want to do what, you tell him to do.
Until you have a Brad Simpson around.
Exactly.
One of the producers
Simpson,
who was awesome.
Yeah. Brad Simpson, one of the producers of the movie, I don't know, sort of, he channeled something, or he had a real...
He's the baby whisperer.
He was the baby whisperer on the movie, and it took us 2 days to discover that whatever he said, they would do. So right behind the camera, imagine Brad always sitting there and coaxing Owen or Connor, and that's how we got him to look down. After 10 or 12 takes, that's it. Here's a little funny slideshow of pointing out the differences and the inequality that Greg feels reigns in middle school. How kids, he has to share the bench with kids who look like adults or kids who are very small. And we actually, along with our extras casting, picked kids who had to show up with an earlier photo of themselves. And that's how we got, we selected those few who show up in the slideshow to get a good before and after.
There's Robert.
Robert Capron is a true blessing. I haven't met a single person on the crew of this movie who was not completely amazed and slightly infatuated with him, from the truck driver to the chief lighting technician. Everybody latched on to Robert, who's very much like Rowley in real life.
Ranked in terms of popularity from 1 to 200.
That scene that you just saw in the classroom was actually our first day of shooting the movie, which after, a couple of months of pre-planning feels like you're suddenly jumping off a cliff and everybody's asked to fly.
No stopping.
Yeah,
You're
and
just
there's no
going.
stop. Exactly. And it was interesting to sort of spend the first couple of days of the movie trying to calibrate these kids' performances. I mean, they've done some acting, but nobody had been in a leading role ever. So we had to really, start a short little process of discovery of finding out, how big is too big, how small is still funny.
Like showing the freckle in the hair.
Yeah. Well, that we had to do.
Which we love.
Some of us.
All right, everybody. I'm Coach Malone, and I am your gym teacher. PE is as much a part of my life as waking up in the morning and going to the bathroom.
This is another fantastic actor, Andrew McNee, from Vancouver, which is where we shot the movie. He brings exactly the right sort of mixture between, wanting to seem inclusive and trying to encourage, but he clearly knows that, this is a dog-eat-dog world. And I think Andrew really sort of straddled the line quite elegantly and funnily.
Why aren't we skins? I hate this.
This is a line right here that always gets a lot of laughs, and it came from you guys. The belly button line. It's funny, I watched the movie along with Zach and Robert, and the minute that part comes up, Robert covers his eyes and turns away because he's still so embarrassed to have done that. But I keep telling him that, he's, I think it's charmed a lot of people and it makes them laugh. But I literally saw him turning away in terror. Here's another Gabe Sachs line. As we're choreographing this little gladiator game, you came up with not good.
Which we continued to do throughout the movie.
Yes.
When there were problems.
Whenever a take didn't quite go as planned,
Not
somebody would
good.
say, not good. So it became the punchline of the movie.
And my writing partner on this is Jeff Judah, who you see up there, and we're constantly in touch. He was in Los Angeles. I was up in Vancouver.
Right.
We focused on getting that kid with the limp. We'll hide here for the rest of class.
This is interesting. A lot of sort of comments and controversy surrounding the character that is about to show up, played by Chloe Moritz, Angie, because she is not in the book. She's a new addition to the world of wimpy kids. The reason really being is that if you look at the books, they're very boy-centric, meaning all the boys have different looks and sort of accents to their design in the books. And the girls all kind of look the same, which really tells you, you know, Greg is looking at girls almost like, you know, he's looking at aliens in a way. And I think Angie was a good opportunity to, deliver the theme of the movie, which is, you know, trying to fit in to middle school and you being introduced to a new part of your life where childhood is over and with it the comforts of childhood. But throughout the film, Angie actually serves as a bit of a Jiminy Cricket character to Greg, always telling him, you know, about his missteps and wrong preconceptions.
And I would enjoy some like-minded company to get me through the 7th. Is that the whistle? I think I hear the whistle. We need to go. Where are we leaving? We could get killed out here in the open. Put your shirt on. They'll think we're on their team. Besides, getting crushed is better than being seen with that freak job. Trust me, you can't recover from social suicide.
So the following sequence was one of my favorite ones to shoot. It was actually kind of planned, pretty detailed as a storyboard early on. And the thing that you guys added was the German exchange student, Dieter Müller, which I really appreciated since I'm from Germany.
And I think even when we came on, it was wondering how is the cheese going to look? You know, how's it going to be a character? And I think you pulled that off amazingly well.
It's great. Actually, the cheese in all its different stages is a product of, you know, a collaboration between our props designer, David Dowling, and in post, the people at Custom Film Effects, led by Mark Dornfeld, our visual effects supervisor. We felt that the cheese should be a character, and the cheese also, if you look carefully throughout the movie, changes its appearance, becoming grosser and grosser, and I think Mark and his team really pulled that off beautifully.
I just looked at it. Really?
This is Harrison Hoody.
The greatest name ever.
Yeah, and he is a terrific young actor in Vancouver. Literally, as the first person who lives through the terror of having the cheese touch, it had to really land, and I think he makes us believe the devastation of having the cheese touch.
And so began the cheese touch frenzy.
And I think who I didn't mention, Karan Brar, who plays Chirag Gupta, does a wonderful job of, telling the story here. There he is. I don't think had ever acted before.
No.
And I mean, look at him pull it off. It's wonderful. Because ultimately, the movie deals with a lot of, very mundane, very simple things that are blown up inside kids' heads. And the cheese is one of those things.
And wasn't our Dieter Müller a tourist that happened to be in Vancouver?
Dieter Müller, yeah, was I don't think he was not an exchange student, but he was a German on vacation that in Canada that through some miracle our casting director found. And likewise, he hadn't acted before, but me being German, I just told
awesome.
everyone,
Yeah.
it was funny, I told everyone, look, we won't cast a Canadian or American speaking German because to my ears, that'll always, sound fake. So he was, German being his mother tongue, had no problem pulling it off. He looks like a young Rod Stewart to me, which I like.
That seat's saved.
For who?
How did they balance those juices on those trays?
Very good question.
very
I'm
good
glad
at
you
that.
asked that question. The juice is glued to the tray because, I felt the kids had so much to remember in that scene, so much to do. And taking care of the tray, contents not spilling, was just too much. And if you look carefully, you'll see the juice bottle at a slight angle that is impossible.
I guess this is where the cool guys hang out.
Grayson Russell, right here, very charming young actor from Alabama.
He must have bumped his head when he was little.
It was very difficult to cast Fregley and, sort of build on screen what everybody feels is in the book. It's really a trouble with all the characters. But when we cast him, I introduced all the actors to each other, and the minute that Zach and Robert laid eyes on Grayson, they literally freaked out and said, "Oh my God, you found Fregley. Where'd you find him?" So I knew we somewhat succeeded.
What did he just say to you?
Oh, I think my ride's here.
Hey guys, so this guy says to that guy.
It was interesting casting all these bit parts. This is Kanan Weeby from Vancouver, who plays Quentin in that scene. Every face in the movie, I felt, if you look at Jeff Kinney's books, there's sort of, blatant honesty in which he portrays youth. Nobody is too slick. Nobody is cute. But in the movie, they still had to be appealing. So that was the challenge with every face we cast.
And Tor, explain this in the background, the green screen. It's like, it looks great. And...
I loved shooting that scene. That was an idea of yours too, actually. You and Jeff pitched that early on, of Greg's fantasy of growing up, being an adult, and the slickest, coolest adult he can imagine, yet speaking with his own kid voice. It was really brilliant. We shot that on a stage in front of a blue screen, and then Mark Dornfeld and his team added the mansion, which I think was shot in Beverly Hills, as a still image. Here's the introduction of Joshie and Rowley's obsession with Joshie, who happens to be a pop star from Europe.
I love this loaded diaper van.
Loaded diaper van is great. A little bit of a tidbit is that, the music that you hear coming out of the van is actually the real Loaded Diapers music, in a way, because it is Scott Kinney's band,
Right.
Who is Jeff Kinney's older brother. So in essence is the real Roderick.
Yeah.
Which is fun to put in these little Easter eggs into the movie, if you will.
And he came by.
He did come by and, enjoyed his fictional counterpart very much.
At their table, you think they want chummy buttons over here? I was right. You're not even gonna make it out of there alive. The only chance you have making the yearbook is when they dedicate it to you.
Devin is very good with props. I always gave him something to handle. In this case, the drumstick. In the earlier scene, it was the Q-tip. Once I figured that he was very creative using those things, I always looked for something to put in his hand. This is a great example, actually, of Brent Thomas, our production designer's brilliant work. Roderick's room. Very textured, very layered. You see a lot of things that...
So many details in the back.
Yeah. And the other thing that, I discussed early on with our design team was just keeping the movie a little bit timeless. Yes, there are references. There's, the Wii is being played. But there's no cell phones. There's no, overly visible references to a specific time period. In the costumes by Monique Prudhomme, our amazing Academy Award-nominated costume designer, as well as in Brent Thomas's set decoration design, we always kept it kind of timeless. Like Jeff Kinney said to me early on that, his books, he wants them to be timeless in a way that the story could have taken place 20 years ago, and it also could take place 20 years from now. And that was the goal with, designing the movie.
Think about music? I came up here to get a new drumstick. And now, Greg, since Mom and Dad are gone, I'm going to kill you. Literally kill you.
I told you.
Beat it.
Okay, but I just want to say one thing. Run, Greg, run!
What's coming up is actually somewhat departing from the book. The Greg having to pee in his room scene, which was a lot of fun to do. And I just like it as a set piece.
Here as long as it takes. And then you're dead.
And the music, really.
Yeah,
Teddy did such a great job.
Teddy Shapiro, who wrote her music, did a wonderful job. It's sort of a rough around the edges kind of score. It's still very emotional. It's you know, it pushes you along. But early on, we sort of zeroed in on a couple of things, like make it feel imperfect in all the right ways. If you listen to the piano, not in this tune, but the beginning of the movie, it's just slightly out of tune, which has a, you know, kind of great handmade quality to it, which goes back to, you know, the books of Wimpy Kid feeling like they're made by a kid. So the idea for the movie is really that this whole movie, to a certain extent, is told from Greg's perspective, and reality is perceived as seen by Greg. Here another great Brad Simpson moment. Dealing with
Manny on the toilet.
Keeping Manny on the toilet, you cannot believe how difficult that is. Because we had to call the toilet a lifeguard seat in order for him to be at peace with sitting on it. And actually, he wouldn't sit on it unless he had his shorts on. So Mark Dornfeld removed the shorts and replaced them with some, you know, little baby thighs. That's a digital effect in the.
And we assure you that Greg Heffley did not really pee.
No.
Zach did not really pee on Roderick.
Zach did not really pee. He did a wonderful job dealing with, you know, what the effects guys put him with, which was a hose up his leg, through his pants, and out his, you know, the center of his crotch, essentially.
I can't believe all these activities. They're all so much work.
So here's, you know, in perfect Greg Heffley form, Greg devising a plan to become a class favorite, but of course wanting to put the least amount of work into it. This is another actress I love, Lane McNeil from Vancouver, Canada, who is such a beast as Patty Farrell. In real life, she is quite the opposite.
Couldn't be nicer, yep.
A very tactful, very creative, very soft-spoken young lady who does a wonderful job in the movie.
Now, this was one of my favorite moments of the entire production, is watching Thor sit between these kids.
I know.
And getting them to do Patty.
You know, to be honest with you, I was very lucky with those kids.
They were great, but it was just fun to sit back and watch you sitting on the floor with them.
Right.
Don't you ever say hi or hello before you start talking? Hi. Hello.
And this is, you know,
Diane Keaton.
Angie's continued sort of influence in the movie, always putting Greg on the spot, basically.
And by the way, that T-shirt that Zach is wearing, designed by Nina Jacobson and Brad Simpson.
Right. Nina had the strong desire to put Greg in a sort of signature shirt through parts of the movie, and you know, we played around with a couple of ideas, and she, I think, doodled this little idea, and we all felt it was very, 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 very cool. And then Monique Prudhomme put it, you know, through her department and came up with this.
Look, they have wrestling. That's it. I'm great at wrestling.
Here's another like little fun fantasy.
That was an amazing amount of work.
That was crazy. Yeah, we shot this in a corner of our soundstage, even though it might not feel that way. Another great example of Jack Green, our amazing cinematographer, having to shoot a variety of different styles and moods and lighting setups.
And those flashbulbs?
Yeah.
Real. A lot of old time. That's what I know. The old time flashbulbs. Hundreds and hundreds of exploding real flashbulbs.
I think he lined the wall with them.
Yes.
Very well done.
We're going to teach you a few basic moves. Remember,
This was, I think, very early in our schedule.
Yeah.
2 days of shooting in a real Vancouver gym at, I think the school is called Van Tech. We actually shot this movie at 3 different schools that all make up one in the final movie. And here, I worked with a special wrestling instructor to get the kids as well as our coaches up to the task of, looking like they sort of know what they're doing.
That was known as the arm drag. Let's give Coach Brewer a hand, everybody.
Because what happens later on when Greg has to wrestle Fregley, neither Zach nor Grayson had ever wrestled before. So we had to carefully sort of put them through the moves of, what you can and cannot do. They were thrilled after, maybe an hour or so of shooting this to contribute their own ideas of wrestling moves. And I'm happy to say that I think it's the crotch push that's included in the sequence. That was an idea of Zach and Grayson's.
I'll take it easy on you. Hey, I wasn't ready.
Nobody's keeping score, but that was a sweet speed takedown, Fregley!
Of course, the coach always siding with the more athletic, stronger student.
And Zach had to be knocked down a number of times, way more than what you see in the movie.
Yeah.
It was a long day.
It was a long day of measured violence. But
how did you pick the right fart at that moment?
The fart was your idea, Gabe.
But how'd you find it?
The fart is, our amazing sound designer Elliot Koretz, whom I've worked with on Hotel for Dogs as well, who did a marvelous job on both movies, I feel. Always has a whole library of, anything you want. If you want to scratch, if you want, burps. He's like, yeah, pick one of those 25, So that's how it got done. This is a setup for a game that Greg and Rowley play together, which is very nonsensical.
With a giant football. That we shot within a few hours. It was at sundown. Right, racing the sunset.
Right. But it shows you that Greg really kind of holds the control in the relationship, and kind of in a way commands Rowley around and gets to throw the football at him, even though Rowley, clearly wants to have his turn at throwing. And what that says is, Rowley never questions Greg at this point in the movie, which of course changes in a very dramatic way later on.
What could I learn at school that I can't teach myself?
This was somehow, I remember this being very tough to shoot because you have, four people around a table and several different angles. And to remember, as you shoot the scene over and over again, to remember who took what bite and, did what with his fork when was very challenging.
And it would only take...
I'm always happy to include animation in this movie. There was a time in the script when there wasn't that much of it in there, and we took sort of a pass and went through it and asked ourselves, where can we put signature poses and drawings from the book into the movie? And this was one clear opportunity of Greg imagining himself a muscled, athletic Schwarzenegger type. Also, along with that came the idea of the popularity chart that we introduced early on in physical education class, which really shows, at all times how Greg feels himself to be, where Greg is standing in the eyes of others. And I think Mike Murphy, who animated those little vignettes, did a wonderful job of putting as much emotion and fun into very, very short moments. This is interesting. Lane was sick while we shot this. She had, I think, some sort of concussion that she suffered. So she did, look at her. You can't tell. But what she couldn't do was slamming into Greg and into Zach and knocking him down. So that little piece was performed by somebody else.
I think it was that girl in the frame back there,
who we called
the
Gum
purple
Girl.
Boots.
Exactly. So we put her in the wrestling outfit and gave her pigtails, and she slams into Greg. On your DVD, if you want to skip through it frame by frame, you'll find it is not Lane for a split second.
And if I would have pinned her, which I could have done easily.
This is, in the book, Greg and Rowley always talk about Twisted Wizard, their favorite video game, so I thought it would be a great opportunity to actually show it in the movie. And this room is a great example of...
The rocket ship.
Oh, yeah. Of Brent Thomas's work, who designed the rocket ship and sort of really put a space theme in Rowley's room. If you look around, more or less everything is based on astronauts and rockets and things like that, which is just a great layer of detail.
Best dressed. How are you going to do that? Fashion is easy. You wear a shirt and a tie and kids are impressed. I'm telling you, this is gonna work.
Great moment from our music supervisor, Julia Michaels, who did a great job really sort of combining all sorts of tracks and songs to, melt it together to a consistent whole.
I was wearing this. I know. I wanted to be matchers.
This also was the first day of shooting.
Yep.
Yeah, everything in this classroom, we did a large chunk of it on day one.
Maybe Roderick was right about Rowley. Maybe I do need a new best friend. But I can't just ditch him.
What's coming up was a very, very fun time on the set right here.
It's really...
This was after the second day of wrestling. We went downstairs into Van Tech's library, and with a bunch of very, very talented young actors from Vancouver, we staged this video within just a few hours, really.
And on video.
On video. Although it is now treated by Custom Film Effects to look like an old 16mm film, which I get a kick out of.
Hey, guys.
I think this was also, you guys found the It's Awesome to Be Me film as mentioned in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the book. And I think it was your thought to sort of feature it in one of the scenes.
Jeff and I loved those old sort of 80s videos that you had to watch, and thought it would be great to actually bring it to life.
Yeah. In preparation, I looked at a lot of Mr. T PSAs. Fun times.
It really is awesome to be me.
We had an awesome breakdancer that day, too. It was really, another testament to Monique Prudhomme's great work is I stepped into the library and literally felt it was 1984, looking at all the costumes.
Let's talk about what we've learned.
I don't know about anyone else, but I know what I learned. It is awesome.
So, of course, Greg comes away with the complete wrong idea.
Again.
Again. Of wanting to, having to transform Rowley into a spitting image of himself, who, clearly is awesome.
What are you doing? Making her clothes.
I'm not a big fan of montages. And I tried in this little sort of what we call it the Rowley makeover montage to make it sort of flow together into one piece, which was very fun to do, and I'm glad it worked out.
It was a present from my mom.
This being the first part of it is, us disappearing behind the door and coming up.
And Rowley's real mom is on that t-shirt.
Right. This was Robert's real mom, Kay.
One strap is cool.
He brought the t-shirt with him when we asked him to in one of the screen tests because we needed that shirt in the screen test that he did with Zach. And he delivered a photo to us of him and his mom. Later on, when his mom actually makes an appearance in the film, I decided it was best to cast Robert's mom.
Joshy is cool. Rowley, Joshy's not cool. He's a lip-syncing pop star whose fans are 8-year-old girls. You're just jealous that I was the one who discovered.
I think a lot of great writing in the scene. I love these exchanges between them.
Respect your parents and follow your dreams. And Joshy must get beaten up a lot.
And here we have the newly refashioned Rowley.
Am I great at this or what?
And of course, the punchline being that through all the training and encouragement, Rowley's still Rowley after all, right here.
You're killing me. You know that?
part of the challenge was, as I said earlier, to tie these sequences together, even though we're jumping really from one sort of book favorite to another. And this transition right here was a way, through a setup and a payoff of a joke to really catapult us into the next scene, which is suddenly we're in, October, and it's Halloween.
So, we'll hit a few houses on the way to the north side, which is where we'll do most of our trick-or-treating. Why are we going all the way over there?
I love these costumes that they wear. We shot this Halloween stuff probably in August or something. So the kids weren't really in a Halloween kind of mood. So I asked the costume department to put me in a costume so that the kids wouldn't feel, so singled out.
Hopefully there's a picture we can include on the DVD. It was pretty great. You did a couple of costumes, didn't you?
Yeah. The first, I just asked them for a costume. What I didn't know is that they would come up with, I think, a woman's dress with a curly wig on the first day. And the next day it was a mad scientist of some sort. But the kids got a kick out of it, and it lightened the mood, and it really helped.
Right here where these woods are. They had to tear it down because what happened there was so terrible.
What happened?
I love Devin's telling of the Halloween story, which is really in the early draft of the script.
Middle school. Trick-or-treat in that house.
But of course, much like, a lot of the movie is played inside Greg's head. Same is the case with this sequence of, the kitchen darkening. And if you listen carefully, you hear a lot of Elliot Koretz's work on the sound level. Screams and fires and woods and wind, all playing back in these guys' heads.
The house burned down with everyone in it.
How'd the trees get there?
And then they planted trees.
Oh.
And to this day, on Halloween night, you can still hear the demonic laughter of the devil-worshipper ghosts as they roam the woods looking for more kids. To sacrifice!
Hey, Roderick, I need you to help me out.
And we're back in reality.
Are you wearing eyeliner? Susan!
I'm on door duty.
Thank you. Bubby! Mom, can you tell him to stop calling
That
me
was another short moment that seems like, oh, what he just said, Bubby. But
Yeah.
Brad worked very hard, as did Tor,
Right.
to get him to say that
Oh, my God.
and point at the same time.
Well, sometimes when, Connor or Owen were not in the mood to be Manny, we had to actually break the setup and move on to something else and come back to it when they felt better or, when they gotten their treats.
This little girl
Oh, yeah. The pro crier.
was a professional crier. She was unbelievable. Every take, instantaneous.
Instantaneous crying to the extent, that I wanted to run to her and say, are you okay? Did we hurt you? And she, she instantly came back down to earth and said, no, this is what I do for a living.
Can we go now?
And I asked her, how did you find out you could cry? And she said, I was asked to do it once in an audition, and it stuck. People realized how good I was at it. This is a moment, actually, that my friend Mike Murphy came up with, which we turned into sort of a Indiana Jones type map idea.
There was lots of candy on the set.
Yes. Again, a lot of these ideas in the movie that, seemingly play inside Greg's head are based on things he's probably seen in movies or read in books.
Nice costume!
Thanks. My mom made it.
The guys who play Pete Hosey and the gang, who are just awesome actors, did a wonderful job. Nicholas Carey, who plays Pete Hosey, Samuel Chu, as well as Donnie McNeil, who interestingly is Lane's, Patty Farrell's brother.
Hey, they're going through the yard! Go!
We had a lot of fun shooting this. Actually, on the day that we shot, this little mansion scene, the kids became convinced that the mansion was haunted.
They told us it was haunted.
Yeah.
Remember the caretaker?
Yeah. And they went inside and came out with pale faces and were convinced they'd seen a ghost. And I said, use it for the scene.
They're coming! Now!
Oh, I got you now! Hey. Come on, you baby!
kick your butts!
These things are shot, you know, in the evenings, where we had split days. We started fairly late in the afternoon, so we could use the kids' work time to shoot in the evening. Sometimes, you know, until 11 o'clock at night. And the kids, of course, get sort of, you know, are amazed by this, you know. Not only do they get to do amazing stuff in front of a camera, but they get to stay up late. So a lot of hyper energy on those nights.
And we tried, it was interesting, it was sort of a no sugar set, but there was candy around because we were shooting Halloween scenes.
Yeah.
So it was always trying to keep them away from...
I know. How do you... Yeah, it's better to have these young guys not be on sugar because you don't want the inevitable crash to happen and, you know, them to become tired. So they'll learn a really healthy diet throughout our shoot.
Tor, didn't we add this garage to this house?
Yes, we did. Good point. Yeah, we were looking forever for Grandma's house, and we needed a garage door to open to reveal them with the garden tools in a heroic way. And we just couldn't find the right house that was in the neighborhood we needed to shoot in, so Brent and his team built a garage. Just the front of it.
Are you kidding me?
Great work from our effects team, and actually great work from the kids. It's more complex than it looks because the weed whacker has a device in it that explodes at a certain time, and Zach had to focus on Pete Hosey and the gang as well as on the effect happening and tying it all together and looking fearful. I think they did a wonderful job.
We're gonna get ya!
Now we're in Devil Worshipper Woods.
Going into the woods? No way I go into Devil Worshipper Woods. This isn't over!
This was fun to do. And terrific work by Jack Green, making it spooky in all the right ways.
Did you hear that?
After the fact, those of you who've seen the movie know that this is actually Fregley closing in on them, having some fun with them. And I brought Grayson back to deliver all the laughs for the scene in post, and I think it's very funny.
Guys?
I don't know if many people understand what this is, this costume. It's a mix between a donkey and a unicorn, I think.
A dunicorn.
Sometimes, because with time so limited, we had only one chance to get something, and this was one of those instances where there was a big setup splashing them with water, the effects people, and if the shot hadn't worked, we would have had to change the kits, spend, a good half hour drying them off and trying it again, but luckily for us, it worked the first time.
In field trip news, consent forms are going out today for our annual History of Plumbing excursion. In sports,
this is a tiny setup. I feel this is a setup for the secret language that Greg and Rowley devised later on in the movie, which is not so secret.
Finally, some positions have opened up for the Safety Patrol. If anyone is interested...
I think one of the first things I thought of when I read the script was, showing the Safety Patrol fantasy as sort of a Right Stuff / Michael Bay version of Safety Patrol right here, which, again, is, in Greg's mind is playing back 10 different movies he's seen.
Safety Patrol is a sacred trust. When you put on this vest and that badge, you become a protector.
Mr. Winsky.
Mr. Winsky, Rob LaBelle, absolute genius, I think.
And Jaywalker is tomorrow's window.
It's great. With all the more experienced adult actors, it was so wonderful to see the kids at that moment sort of rise up to the task.
Then welcome to Safety Patrol.
He made them so good in the scene, and he underplays it really nicely. Mr. Winsky, of course, who has a lifelong obsession with Safety Patrol.
So you'll be excused from the first 20 minutes of sixth period.
But that means we'll miss algebra. Ouch! Do we get free stuff? Free hot cocoa. Could this day get any
That
better?
is Nina Jacobson's daughter on those steps.
Yep.
Josie.
Yep. Who is actually in another shot of the movie
Yes.
too. Yeah.
Just doing her homework on the stairs. Relaxing. Between classes.
Completely realistic looking. Amazing. Very well done.
Look, Safety Patrol is the lowest of the low. The geekiest of the geeky, the islands of misfit toys. You're just jealous they don't trust you to keep our school safe. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to secure the perimeter.
Another one of Greg's sort of ill-fated attempts at wanting to look good in the eyes of others. This was, the first scene that we shot with a group of kindergartners. They were all amazing, but I don't recommend working, with actors that young and that many of them.
Just saying.
Just saying. Trying to keep them all in a straight line. But they were really good sports and, completely not used to the mechanics of shooting a film. They did wonderful work.
That was close. Too close.
Now we enter the winter sequence. This is another great sort of cheese transition shot made by Custom Film Effects. And this is really the point in the story where Greg and Rowley's relationship is about to change fundamentally.
And we did not shoot this in the snow. In the real snow.
No, unfortunately, we couldn't wait around for, winter to descend on Vancouver. So what you see here is shot in front of a blue screen and then keyed out and replaced by a landscape created by our effects team.
Remember that secret language we made up last week? Your podcast.
This is interesting. Jeff Kinney talked to me after we shot the scene, and he's seen it. He thought the actor who plays Rowley's dad was just perfectly cast. And I looked it up again. The drawing in the book is a spitting image.
This is another instance where there was no snow, where that entire back wall was blue screen. It looks great.
Yeah. This is a stunt performed by a stunt person of Robert's size. It's actually broken up into a lot of shots when you see it. Part of that sequence, of course, is a shot of Robert flying over camera, for which we suspended him from wires, and he enjoyed it more than anything. He loved it. I think once he hung from the wires, I heard him say awesome.
He'd never wanted to come down.
Yeah, he never wanted to come down. He said awesome like 55 times. He felt he was, part of the X-Men movie.
No one's pointed out what a good chef Rowley is. I mean, that's a great-looking chicken.
That is a great-looking chicken.
Hey, I'm the one who broke his hand. Then you're a jerk. Ow!
This is part of our only shooting day in the cafeteria, which seemed to last forever. A little slow-mo sequence where I asked Robert to just tell one funny story after another to make the girls laugh. And I honestly, looking at the shots we were getting, I have no idea what he was saying, but it worked. And now, as clearly visible in the popularity chart that comes up, the standing of Rowley has changed dramatically. Now occupying Greg's old spot on the popularity chart.
Hey guys, check it out. Oh my gosh, what happened? It's a raging infection caused by a splinter that was left untreated. Want to be the first to sign my sympathy sheet? No. I'll sign it, Greg Heffley. If you let me look at your infection.
And now, of course, things change. Somebody else might be taking Greg's place shortly.
Hey, Gregory, want to sign the card? You got Rowley a card?
This is another great Capron Brar moment right here.
It's for Brian Little. The guy who writes the wacky dog cartoons for the school paper.
It was fun to sort of pepper the movie with all these little details from the books. which is hard to do because, ultimately you want to follow the story of these characters, but you want to surround them with a world that, has enough rich detail in it. And the Wacky Dog cartoons are a favorite from the book, so we felt it's a great thing to include here.
Cartoons all the time. I'm gonna win this.
It's funny, a lot of moments in the movie include Greg feeling very, very confident about himself, and the fact that he comes up short, delivering on the confidence, he ignores and turns to Rowley for help. This was fun to do, just to lift the cartoons directly from the book and sort of bring them to life on screen, and the boys do a great job here, I think, playing off each other here.
Yeah, Zooey Mama. We can't just do the same thing over and over. We can't if it's Zooey Mama. It has to be.
I still don't understand why Zooey Mama is funny, but it is.
And Jeff he was amazing. Jeff Kinney was very particular how Rowley said Zooey Mama.
Right.
And
yep,
he was right.
Did he send us an email with the phonetic spelling?
He actually spoke to us, which was great. He actually told us.
Right.
Why don't you go do it yourself?
And now Rowley slowly asserts himself and builds up an independence, which is surprising to Greg.
But of course, in the sweetest way when he picks up that
right
stuff.
Yep.
There's Josie again.
Josie. So what follows is really the key turn of events in the movie, which is what Greg does to the little kindergartners out of fear. This was, oh my God, a crazy shoot day.
It's a huge crane.
A huge crane holding up rain bars, essentially a rain machine.
And there's rain sticks all along the side.
Yeah. And the rain sort of, the rain, when you start the rain before you roll the camera, it takes maybe 30 seconds to ramp up and be full rain. And you have, a bunch of kids standing there, waiting for instructions. So you have to raise your voice enough for everybody to hear while it rains.
And there's a lightning machine.
There's a lightning machine. Yeah. And meanwhile, you want to make sure all the dramatic beats are working in the scene.
And it rains in Vancouver. Was not raining that day.
I know. Vancouver has a lot of rain, just not on the day we shot the scene.
Yes, Mrs. Irvine.
It was important here that Greg really does what he does out of fear. He even apologizes to the kids for throwing them in the hole. But the key here is that he did something, irresponsible. And in the sequence that follows, he is not stepping forward to take responsibility for it.
For the remainder of the week. And now, what you've all been waiting for. The faculty, student council, and editors have all met and selected the new cartoon.
And I think that in this little scene, the difference between Greg and Rowley really comes to light, because right here, Rowley wins the contest. And watch how he perceives, how he reacts to all the adoration. Very surprised, very happy to be there. Not full of himself at all. Which really is the theme of the movie. It's like if you don't pursue popularity, but do what you like, you will succeed.
Hey, Rowley, congratulations. Thanks. No problem. I read all the submissions, and yours was by far the best. I read yours too.
And Greg is left wondering what went wrong.
Hey, Bryce. Yeah. Hey, Bryce. Hey, fella. Wow. Everyone knows me now. It's like I'm famous. Isn't this great? Yeah.
Rowley Jefferson, I need to see you in my office. Now.
The crisis is brewing. Part of why this scene, I think, works so well is, how Rob LaBelle as Mr. Winsky treats the badge and wearing the badge and being part of the secret trust of Safety Patrol is the holy grail of middle school, which is actually very similar to how the kids in this movie see the world. Certain things are just loaded with, perceived as so important and so dramatically, decisive. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And I think Rob does a great job here committing to Mr. Winsky's conceit.
I'm kicked off. I don't even know what he's talking about. Rowley.
So, of course, in this moment, Greg is unable to tell the truth and come forward, which is really a setup for the end of the movie, where you see him mull it over before he actually steps forward and rescues his best friend from humiliation.
You've been home for an hour and haven't badgered me for any snacks. Are you feeling okay?
Rachel Harris, who really is known for very outlandish, funny comedic bit parts, is very funny in this movie. I think does a great job at being a very warm and very sort of down-to-earth mother, really.
Which is very different for her, and she did a great job.
Yeah.
She's in The Hangover and tons of movies.
Yeah.
Choices that make us who we are.
I mean, look how simple she is here. I like that a lot. Very, very, very much the opposite of what she usually does.
Thinking about my mom's advice. And I finally decided to do the right thing. I'm sorry I terrorized you children.
This is very interesting. In moments like these, the movie really stretches the limit of Greg's likability. We have to understand why he does the things he does. What's fascinating to me is that it's a very unlikely, very unusual kid hero. Jeff Kinney always said that Greg combines every kid's worst instincts into one. But I think Zach does a wonderful job pulling it off. And here we are, when the truth finally has to come out. This was a very critical day to shoot this very, very, key moment in their relationship. And we rehearsed it, but really only by talking through the feelings and the emotions and the beats of the scene, rather than, doing it over and over. So it stayed fresh for this moment when the camera rolled. And of course, Greg is trying to sell the awful truth as a funny joke, hoping that Rowley won't notice. And of course,
they were
he does.
both amazing in the scene.
Oh,
really,
they're
both
amazing.
sides.
Yeah, amazing. And I actually love, even here, adding a bit of humor, all based on, a character's beliefs. Jeff urged us to add that line where he says, Rowley accuses him of disrespecting Joshy, which I like quite a bit.
Yep.
You hated my cartoon.
And of course, Teddy Shapiro does a wonderful job here, creeping in with the music that really, it breaks my heart.
Broken hand was the best thing that ever happened to you. Don't call me. Don't come by my house. We're done.
It's funny. I mean, you can sense here how the Greg from the book really differs from the Greg on screen in a way that he's more vulnerable. He's sort of deep down realizing the consequences of his actions right here, which we all felt you had to do in the movie. If you look at the book, I mean, it's so consistently funny based on, Greg staying delusional about his behavior from start to finish. But in a movie, you need to tell the journey of somebody from, one point to another. And Greg, sort of deep down is starting to realize that he's treated Rowley in the wrong way.
I know you'll honor it.
This is funny. In an earlier cut of the movie, this whole sequence, we put Tem's score under it, but the song that you hear really ties it together wonderful. It makes even, the sort of pretty downbeat part of their relationship of Greg being left in the dust, palatable and somewhat funny.
The whole thing with Rowley is I was willing to let bygones be bygones. But then he made friends with Colin just to mess with me. As if I even care if he... Well, you know what? Two can play that game. There's no going back, Sergeant. I need you aboard the helicopter.
Best friend t-shirts.
Have my back? I will always have your back, Captain.
Rowley might have a silk screen or printing, t-shirt printing thing in his basement that he
right
makes shirts for everything.
So now, obviously, Greg tries for the last resort, making friends in an unlikely place. I love Fregley's house, by the way, which I think was a heritage home in Vancouver. We had to be very careful stepping in and out of it and leaving everything intact. It was a beautiful old, sort of Victorian-looking thing.
Wanna have a tickle fight? Okay, let's get inside.
This was really a tough scene to shoot. A lot of things sort of we came up with on the spot, like Rebecca, his little pet in the corner.
Rebecca.
It's funny, like Grayson, who plays Fregley, sort of fell in love with Rebecca, loved her a lot, and he asked the props department if he could keep it after the movie. So
after some custom issues, it went fine.
Yes. Some custom issues on the way from Canada to Alabama. But now, Grayson's mother told me proudly that Rebecca is, I think, on the dining room table in their house.
In a good spot.
In a good spot, well taken care of.
Breathing, Greg Heffley.
This is another, this was kind of easy because this is a great moment from Jeff's book, which we just sort of translated without further ado into the movie, and I like it. What I like about it is Grayson's reading of the letter.
Dear Gregory.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, just another day.
Yeah. Just so you can get me back.
This paper so you can get me back.
And Teddy's score, indicating the horrific. It's almost like a horror movie score at that moment.
Again, not a real booger.
Not a real booger. A prop booger.
Prop booger. There are plenty to choose from.
Yeah.
Okay, enough. I'll show Rowley I don't need him.
This was a fun little time. The kids in this movie were helped by an acting coach, Belita Moreno, who, after a little bit of searching for the right Mrs. Norton, it sort of just came to us as an idea to cast her as Mrs. Norton, and I think she does a wonderful job. And the kids very much enjoyed sharing the stage with her because it was really a sort of very trusting relationship and made it very playful at that point.
This was a great day.
This was a great day.
So much fun.
Every kid here belted out the whole song in their own way on camera. And then Wendy Brickmont, my lovely editor, paced it out beautifully and sort of combined the voices wonderfully. Oh man, I can't get enough of watching this. It might be one of those things where the reference to the old song is funnier to adults than to children, but it was an enjoyable time for all of us to do it, and the kids got a kick out of it. This, you might know, is actually not Zachary Gordon singing, but he was almost as good.
Greg Heffley, what a lovely soprano voice you have. I'm stunned. Maybe you should be Dorothy.
This was Greg as Dorothy, along with Greg as a celebrity, and Greg in a bunch of different still image.
Greg in the magazines.
Greg in the magazines was all done on the very last day of our shoot, and it was kind of poignant to end the movie with our lead kid being dressed up as a girl. Very interesting, but I'm glad to say it works on screen.
Your voice is too high for any of the other male roles. Perhaps you can be a tree.
First, he was incredibly awkward about it, but then he just went with it. And, was sort of dancing around on a white screen where we put him as Dorothy.
The trees get to throw apples at Patty Fair.
I think for all these kids, the movie presents a great sort of test, having to do all sorts of embarrassing and demanding things, which should prepare them well for their acting future.
We don't get armholes? How are we going to throw apples at Dorothy without armholes?
You don't need armholes because nobody's throwing any apples. We're not doing the movie. In my version, the trees sing these.
Down the winding yellow.
We Three Trees was lifted from Jeff's books. I think the lyrics are actually in the book. Slightly expanded and then put to a very simple melody. The kids that day had to sing that song so often that I think every crew member hummed it for the next 5 days.
There's
it was
a stunt coming up. That,
Oh my God. Yeah. This was our stunt coordinator's child who actually performed that stunt of falling. And he did a wonderful job. Something went slightly off and he hit his forehead.
He actually landed head first.
Yes.
But it worked. He did a great job.
It worked. And he had a slight bump, but nothing serious. This we shot over the course of, I think, 2 days. First covering the play, shooting in the direction of the stage, with very few people in the audience. And then the next day turning the camera around and, covering the whole auditorium, which was our biggest amount of extras ever in the movie. This, Manny saying Bubby, which I think at that point was Owen, not Connor, fielding. And Owen did a great job, helped by Brad Simpson, of course.
And using as many of those working Mannies as possible.
Yeah. And the reward for saying Bubby right and loud enough was, I think, Tootsie Rolls. I think Devin does a great job here. Always makes me laugh.
We three trees from...
From yonder glen, wish her joy through journey's end.
It was funny, the little shots that you see of Manny here when he's reacting. Right here. I think that's Connor, actually. We're all based on... They're all real reactions. What I did is stage the whole play without a cut, let the actors do the whole performance on stage, and just have multiple cameras on, Steve Zahn and Rachel Harris, as well as Manny, and just let them react through the whole thing. And we got some gold from the Fielding twins here. If you listen carefully to Teddy Shapiro's score here, it's actually We Three Trees, orchestrated and sung by children's choir. And of course, Greg finds himself at the bottom of the popularity chart, underneath even Fregley.
I thought Dorothy deserved it.
This is sort of a small little important moment that I like of Frank, the father, sort of siding with Greg, really taking his side.
Look what I found in the trash. Guess you threw it away by accident.
Give it back, Roderick!
No way! You want it? Come and get it then. Come on.
Give it!
Come on! Well, use your muscular legs. Oh, no.
Okay,
you can
okay,
have it.
boys.
Come on, don't you want it?
this was another fun day. I always had it in my head that I wanted to show the family as animated characters. When we sort of, pushed it off for the longest time, it didn't feel organic to Greg's, main conceit here, which is he wants revenge on Roderick. But through including every character in the family, to his humiliation, it made sense to have them all turn into obnoxious animated characters, which I thought Custom Film Effects did a great job with.
Putting this Tootsie Roll in Roderick's backpack. It's for Roderick. So whatever you do, don't touch the Tootsie Roll.
The following moment, I still can't believe we pulled off, which is a magazine reading Little Manny.
Manny? Where did you get that?
The truth is, with these moments like these, you have to try it over and over and over again until you get what you want.
That's offensive.
It's interestingly, this scene is shot late at night, I think in the evening. And Jack Green making it look like daytime through the windows.
Go ahead and talk. We're a band.
I so love the scene. I think both Rachel and Devin play wonderfully off each other.
It's not mine.
It was in your backpack.
No, it was in my room.
It's amazing to see him respond to her, questioning in very different ways. It's almost like, he did a version where it's like he's passing a test at school and he wants to satisfy the teacher. He did an annoyed version. And we all sort of combined it wonderfully in the edit. This is, I know you want to hear that answer. Which is all Devin's really wonderful creative take on Roderick.
I'm sorry, women.
And I think the writers did a wonderful job here. This scene in the book is just a questionnaire on a piece of paper that Mom hands to Roderick, and he fills out. And you see it in the book as black on white, whereas in the movie we turned it into a dialogue scene. This is one long day with everybody on the crew waiting with bated breath for Robert and his mother to perform the dance. I had a great choreographer, Paul Becker, who, I told that I wanted something very simple for Kay and Robert to perform, but also something very signature. If it's too complicated, too difficult for them to do, then, it would have taken sort of the fun out of it. And it took them like 3 days, I think, to rehearse the dance that you're about to see.
And sometimes, when somebody's worth it, you just have to put yourself out.
Just watching real life mother and son sort of having the time of their life with a film crew around was one of the more memorable moments for me on the movie. So here you'll see Colin, who is wonderfully played by Alex Ferris, a Vancouver actor, always coming in at the wrong moments for Greg.
I'm sorry.
It's funny, he's, Alex, as he plays Colin, is very different from the book. Here, he's sort of an overachieving, very straight-laced, somewhat conservative-looking young man who you feel will go to high places in the world. Whereas in the book, he's just a sort of pudgy little guy. But I think Jeff Kinney really appreciated that little change, or sort of the newness of the character that, Alex Ferris brought to it.
Just talk about the song.
Yeah, we looked forever for a somewhat timeless song that would, convey enough, fun and movement and bounciness. And we sort of, along with Julia, our music supervisor, went through a whole bunch of things until I think she came up with the Beastie Boys' Intergalactic. And, instantly, it felt to me like it's the right way to go.
A lot of times we had an advantage because the book was so popular, sold so many copies, so people knew about it.
Right.
There were artists that knew about it, and I think one of the Beastie Boys kids was a fan. And
Exactly right. I mean, that's how it literally, Steve Zahn got involved in the picture because his son loves the Wimpy Kid books, and one of the Beastie Boys was kind enough to grant us the rights to their song for this movie because his children or his kid, I think, felt very, very strongly about the Wimpy Kid series. The books are really our secret weapon sometimes for putting the movie together. The whole sequence that follows is kind of my favorite sequence in the movie because a lot of things come to a head. A lot of relationships are resolved or brought to, almost the breaking point right here. And I think the kids do an amazing job. This was our second week of shooting, and, I'm asking them to deliver great emotional turns. And I think they really lived up to the task. After only being on set for, the better part of a week. And I think we shot this over the course of 3 days, the entire confrontation with Pete Hosey and the boys and the cheese speech.
And it's all your fault. It was an accident.
If you look at the sky, actually, you can see that it's 3 different days because our backgrounds keep changing on us.
This was another thing that Jeff Kinney wanted to make sure is the fight, the actual how they were bouncing around, because he loved the idea, and it was actually really funny that they could not. They're just two boys who just don't know how to fight.
They just don't know how to fight, but they're so sort of pressured into it. So the movement they come up with is like right here, Robert Capron plays it as Rowley, never even having formed a fist with his hand. It was so much fun to do. We basically, started rehearsals by referencing a drawing in Jeff's book where I think Rowley bounces on one leg.
Well. Look who we
And of course, Pete Hosey and the other older boys coming in and having to sort of, force Greg into, making a good choice.
You guys have no idea what I'm
This was during, the only heat wave I think we encountered in Vancouver during the making of this movie. And we had been in this schoolyard shooting, everything from this to the Cheese Touch opening and all that. By the end of that week, I think I had a farmer's tan. It was impossibly hot. I think the boys had to change frequently in and out of different shirts to not look like they're sweating buckets.
Pick it up.
But
Pick it up.
This was a scene that I think was one of the first scenes that I sort of storyboarded in more detail because it was pretty sort of definite and kind of set in stone in the script. I always tend to do my own doodles and drawings of how I want to move people through a scene. Even if I don't end up doing it on the day, it really helps setting the framework, especially helpful when you work with children.
I don't even want to say exactly what.
And a lot of these, these moments and these shots exist as little drawings in a book of mine.
These guys made him do. He won't have a chance.
Now you.
But I'm allergic to dairy. I'll die, and then you'll go to jail. And...
Hey! What are you doing on school property?
Go. Shotgun.
Pete Hosey, is that you? Boys okay? Yeah? All right.
And the grand finale.
Out of my way.
It was very, very important that this speech that Zach has as Greg right here felt, would feel genuine and coming from, all kinds of different realizations that have accumulated in him throughout, the body of the movie. He has clearly at this point changed his whole outlook on the world, the school, and what is important and what isn't. And I think Zach did a really wonderful, subtle job as literally an 11-year-old actor to really make it feel like Greg is coming to these conclusions or articulating them for the first time for himself out loud. And something that's been sort of, brewing inside his head for the last, 20 minutes of our narrative.
I'm so sick of it. Step forward and join me. She's touched. Greg Heffley has the.
Ironically, of course, the heroic speech has no effect.
Nina's son Noah was in that shot.
Right. Kid with the red hair behind Patty Farrell. It's great to keep it all in the family.
Absolutely.
So.
This was a great little moment to shoot with the boys. I think it was the sort of the first thing I told the producers in a meeting. That line, "Do you want to come over and play?" was sort of initially uttered by Rowley to Greg, but I thought it would be great if Greg sort of says it back to him, meaning including himself back into childhood in a way, which is not quite over for both of them.
Here's your yearbook. Have a great summer. Here's your yearbook. Have a great summer. Here's your yearbook. Have a great summer.
Of course, here, Chloe Moritz as Angie, the voice of reason,
In it that much. Maybe try to get out there a little next.
bidding a sort of farewell
You know what, Daddy? One day middle school will end and
to Patty Farrell,
and after that, it just becomes life.
preparing her
All
for what's to
those
come.
things you think are important now,
It's literally, this is what Greg learns throughout the movie, and here it is sort of verbalized for us.
Ew, as if. Handing it to you is like touching you, and I am way too smart to touch somebody who ate the cheese. Rowley! Oh, have a great summer. Stay cool. Yep.
The next thing that follows, us being back in that sort of abstract-looking white space, which, has Greg's drawings surrounding him, is literally the last thing we shot on the movie. I think it was Robert's last moment on the film, which follows. And he had a very emotional reaction after he shot this right here. He's so funny in this. But then I think afterwards, he got a little emotional because the shoot was over and it was, a pretty seminal moment, I think, in all these kids' lives is to, be in a big movie based on a book they all loved. And it was literally their enthusiasm and their freshness that sort of sustained everybody through a very, very tough, very sort of fast-paced shoot.
Talk about these. This is amazing credit sequence.
Yeah.
Which was.
This was, we sort of developed that more in post-production. My friend Mike Murphy, who I actually went to film school with, and myself storyboarded this, trying to come up with vignettes that, are beloved from the book, and sort of combining them by going from one to the next. And I have to say, in the limited post time that we have, he and Custom Film Effects put this sequence together in record time.
I mean, really record time.
Yeah, it was so fast. You turn around and it was there. To their credit, they did a wonderful job with it. So that was our movie-making experience to some extent. I, for one, really enjoyed making this movie. It was a great, great time. Mostly because we had to work with such great source material. I mean, literally, the characters in the world that Jeff created in the books are so rich and so well-rounded and detailed and sort of blatantly honest as well as realistic. for me as a director, it helped so much because after a while I could answer a lot of questions about, what Rowley was wearing, what Greg would say, what their world, their environment looks like. And every crew member, I think, felt blessed working off such great source material. So to me, it was a wonderful experience from start to finish.
As writers, you rarely get a chance to have a book that's that three-dimensional, and it was absolutely amazing to work from. And Jeff and I had an amazing time on the movie as well, and with Nina Jacobson and Brad Simpson, who are just awesome producers. It was an amazing experience.
Nina and Brad really, I feel, understood the specialness of the source material, that this is unlike any other sort of children's literature, and sort of brought the right sensibility, between utter mundaneness and finding the funny in it and the irony to it. It helped me every day. So I hope you enjoyed the commentary, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Bye.
Bye.